The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection
For anybody to hand this out, we're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in this nation.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Us Democrats. We're continuing our series of candidate forums, we'll call them, with the Democratic candidates for state representative from across the city. We are fortunate to be joined here by the candidates from Ward 8, my ward in the city. Very excited to have you here. We have Representative Latha Mangiapudi and Mr. Skip Cleaver. So thank you both for being here. What we've done is we've given the candidates a couple minutes just to introduce yourselves to voters, to let them know what issues are important to you, kind of what your background has been, either politically or in the business world, and then just talk a little bit about what you hope to accomplish once you're elected to the House of Representatives. So you have seniority here, Representative Mangiapudi, so we'll have you start and just have you introduce yourself to the voters of Ward 8.
Thank you, Dave Tenza. Thank you. You do a wonderful job at the city committee as a city committee chair. My name is Latha Mangiapudi. I'm a state rep from Ward 8, and I've served on Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee for 3 years. This is my third year. I was elected for special election in 2013 and served 14, 15, and 16. I have worked very diligently in what's important to my constituents. Number one, rail, mental health, and addiction. Opioid addiction does not have any barriers of socioeconomic, cultural, race, religion, age. It has no barriers. So it's affected a lot of my constituents. And education and economic engine, because as we know, our ward has a lot of high tech. The Tara Flatleaf Challenge there, and Tara Heights, a lot of small companies. And there are some companies that are great that are doing global outreach to what they serve. So I'm really excited to continue the service and continue to strengthen what we need to do for our constituents. And I've lived the longest in my life in Nashua. So I'm a proud Nashuan, not by birth, but as long as I've lived here. So from that, I'm very looking forward to serving my community. Public service is giving back to my community, and this is the highest form of public service that I can do at this time in my life.
And you've served in various positions in the city of Nashua. You've been on the Board of Education.
Correct.
For a number
I've
of
served
terms.
on Board of Education. I've served on Mental Health Board. I've served on Spiritual Board, Interfaith Council Board. And so, like I said, my kids were born here and raised. So as PTO president, and so I've gone, and then I've also worked as a speech language pathologist for multiply handicapped, Nashua Center for the Multiply Handicapped for over 22 years, home care, and coordinated in-home care for the elderly to have them live with dignity and respect in their own homes. So many hats. But the most important hat I wear is a mother of two wonderful children, no longer kids, but adults who are contributing. My daughter is a preschool teacher down in Boston. My son is a statistician up in Burlington, Vermont. I would love to see them come back to Nashua.
And so you raised your kids here. On top of everything else, you do a great job in making sure that the city and everyone in the city is aware of the fantastic Indian American population that we have here in Nashua. I believe it's the largest Indian American.
Second land. Yeah,
second largest.
Nashua City is a very unique, it's the most diverse city in our state, and Indian Americans is the second largest minority. And you brought up, I serve on the One Greater Nashua Civic and Business Group, and in the past year, I was led the charge with the Sister City Initiative between Nashua and Mysore, where I was born and brought up in India, and the Chamber of Commerce have the partnership between Mysore Chamber of Commerce and Nashua Chamber of Commerce, and actually a delegation through Rotary will be going to Mysore in January. And then we have, we have celebrated Indian Independence Day, celebration of democracy 3 years in a row, and just to highlight the positive impact of immigrants. And, we are all immigrants. The new wave of immigrants will look different, but that doesn't mean we are less patriotic or less contribution. So,
Absolutely.
and I'm really great. Thank you for bringing that attention to One Greater Nashua, where Chamber of Commerce, United Way, and several nonprofit organizations working together to celebrate rich diversity, cultural, ethnic, and economic diversity we have in our city, and to bring it together and celebrate.
And that's really one of the strengths and one of the things that makes Nashua, somewhat unique to New Hampshire, but such a great city. So thank you for all that you do to help contribute to that, and everything you do up at the State House and here in Nashua. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
And so we also have here Skip Cleaver, who, Skip, I believe, is this your first time running?
First time running, yes.
For office?
First time running for any office, yes.
Great. And so you just tell us a little bit about your professional background and why you decided that you'd like to run.
Well, thank you very much, David. I've been in Nashua for 42 years, have raised a family of 3 kids here. They went to Charlotte Avenue and the schools, Nashua High School. And I've been involved in community affairs ever since I've been here, Cub Master and president of the Gate City Striders and many other organizations. And I've always been very involved in community affairs and supporting other candidates many times, working in other campaigns, as in Mayor Jim Donchis most recently. And I'm semi-retired now after a long corporate business career, and mostly in Nashua Corporation, along with Active Network and a few other organizations. And semi-retirement has allowed me to get more involved in politics, and I think we need some definite experienced leadership in Concord, and I hope to have a hand in making some improvements for our city and for our state. And several things are very important to me. Commuter rail coming to Nashua and to Manchester is very important. Our opioid epidemic needs to be addressed, and we need to really ramp up treatment and prevention options. Education has always been high on my list as well. We need to fund our schools both well as equitably, and our colleges could be much more affordable, as we all know. So I'm hoping that we can have some influence in making our state colleges more affordable, perhaps even with the goal of tuition free. Our tax structure is very, very good. We're very proud in terms of having no broad-based taxes. There are some options that we can better explore, I think, to finance our state government. And all in all, I'm just very, very excited about having the opportunity to contribute to the state and to the city and to the citizens. I think it's a wonderful state. I've enjoyed my stay here for many decades and want to contribute. So,
great. And so you have a business background.
Yes.
I think Latha would agree that the legislature is not the most efficient institution by design, correct? How do you think that your business background will help you serve and help you to be an advocate for the people of Ward 8?
Well, my business background, of course, I have an MBA from Riviera University, and I've had a lot of different experiences, some of it international, but a lot of it national as well. So through my business career, I've been able to see efficiencies, cost, and income balances, and just many opportunities to run our state more like a business, perhaps, and more efficiently for sure.
I think it's more, your contribution. I used to wonder how 400 of us, how do we really contribute? I think it is a very, it's an opportunity at the committee level. You do make a difference. You do, if you're aware of what the constituents' needs are, if you know your ward pretty well. And, for example, I'll give you an example where one of the not microbrewer, craft beer store, which is on Spitbrook Road, and I visited all the businesses, and he had made a mention about there was this law where if you sell alcohol, you have to have $3,000 worth of groceries in a liquor store, and it's only for small businesses. And people usually who go for craft beer don't buy groceries. And so it was really, I educated myself on what it was. And when the bill came to modify that, it was reduced to $1,000. And so I just met him again in another event. He said, thank you, that kind of made a difference for us. So just by having $1,000 worth of groceries, not $3,000 worth of groceries, that will hold up. So
yeah, and that's probably part of the beauty of a citizen legislature, is that
correct.
A lot of people out there interacting with citizens and business owners, and you can affect meaningful change and small things that make a difference for small business owners in the community. So
absolutely.
Great.
I've seen a lot of changes since I moved here in 1974. Nashua has grown tremendously. The business climate has improved. We have many, many successful businesses, many recent ones as well as some in the past. And it's a developing area, as we all know. The entire Boston region is developing. And we have a lot of business opportunity, but we need to be sure, as in rail, for example, that businesses have all the resources that they need from a clientele, but also from a workforce standpoint. And I think that also our economy's done very well, but we can do better for the least among us and make a more balanced, a more moral, a more equitable society. For example, raising our minimum wage to $15 an hour would help raise many of our citizens and neighbors out of poverty, but it would also help our businesses, because that money would all be spent locally.
Yeah. It's so funny because the minimum wage, so many people think it's just an issue for low wage earners, what it is, but I mean it's really a family issue.
Absolutely.
It's the
it's
increase in the minimum.
Yeah, when you think about two working family, like a young family like yours, and when we moved, Archel, my son was born here, and I worked only part-time for most part because one had to take a back seat in terms of and most of the time it was a per diem, and so there was no benefits, so it does affect every socioeconomic status. I mean, every group.
Yeah,
and I
certainly.
think, we do have to think about, as a community as a whole, what do we value?
Right. And right now there's no minimum wage in New Hampshire, so if the federal minimum wage
Federal
went away,
minimum wage is
$7.25.
makes us the lowest in the country.
Yeah, $7.25.
It's rather embarrassing, actually.
Yeah.
Another very important family issue is child care.
Mm-hmm.
And
Quality
we need
childcare.
quality child care. We need more affordable child care and accessibility. If somebody's making $10 an hour and they're paying child care of
See, there's
$10
another
an
one.
hour.
Yeah, there's another
not
issue
making
with
much
the
progress.
child in early childhood or early life where, this number has stuck in my head. There's only, as the birth rates, there's only about 12,000 newborn babies born in our state of New Hampshire, out of which 2,500 are born to either mothers with impoverished, mentally ill, addiction, or socially isolated because they're new immigrants. They don't know how to integrate, and they feel isolated. And if we really focus on having, this is the second largest city, and just having good early network, we are going to save future incarceration. Same thing with drug court, mental health court. And Nashua has there are great programs, preventive ones, but we have to strengthen that. We have to collectively work together to expand that, not spin the wheel in the little cocoons. And that's my biggest thing, is to try and work collaboratively, to integrate. And you know how I've worked with drug court and mental health court, trying to get the technology going.
Sure.
So
Integrating programs is very, very important for our city and our state.
And we could sit around and talk all afternoon about this, but unfortunately we're doing short segments here. I want to give each of you a chance, if people want to get in touch with you or get more information about your candidacy, how would they be able to reach out to you?
I have a Facebook page, Latha Manjipudi, state rep, and also I have an email, latha.manjipudi@gmail.com. My phone number is available. It's on the state rep, website. It's pretty much, everybody knows, and I give out my home phone number is 603-891-1239. I do get contact with the Facebook. That's been the biggest thing. And emails. People call me at home, email me, and Facebook message. And I usually post on Facebook what I'm doing, what bills are being discussed. So it's a great way to get connected. Social media, technology.
Yeah, you need it. Skip.
Yes, thank you. I have a website, skipcleaver.com, and I have an open phone number, 603-305-9871, and I can be reached most easily by email, skipcleaver@comcast.net. And I intend to have an open door, an open phone, and be very supportive of our constituents in Ward 8. I want to be their voice in Concord, and I want them to voice their concerns through me, to me, so that we can address any concerns that come up.
I'm looking forward to serving with you, Skip.
Likewise, and I'm very honored to be running with somebody with such experience.
Yes.
And somebody so
wonderful.
effective in
So
the
wonderful.
representative's job.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for being here. We should mention
you.
that there's a third Democrat running. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today, David Lyle, but a lot of the issues you both touched on are very important to him as well. Bicentennial Elementary School.
November 8th.
Yeah.
Don't forget. And start from the bottom of the ticket, because top of the ticket, presidential, Senate, governor, it's all on the top of the ticket. But don't forget us on the bottom of the ticket.
Yes, please vote from the bottom up.
Bottom up. Yep.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m. November the
Bicentennial.
8th, Bicentennial School.
Yep.
Thank you.
And if
We
you
would
don't,
appreciate your vote very much, and we look forward to serving our community.
if you don't have an ID, remember you don't need one. You can go fill out a voter affidavit. Still vote. Same day registration still applies. So there's no excuse.
Also, the absentee ballot, if you want to let them know, I think there's a time frame within which they have to ask for absentee ballot.
Yes, I
and
would
I
do
think
it
it should
now.
be now.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're not going to be around, or if you think you're going to be busy on that day, make sure you send out your absentee ballot request, and you get the ballot and send it back, so you don't have to worry about it. Every vote counts.
Absolutely.
We ask you for your vote, and we thank you very much.
Latha and Skip, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. So that's Tuesday, November 8th, Ward 8. Please go out and support these great candidates. Thanks for your time, and we'll be back with another segment with, I believe, Ward 7 right after this. Thanks.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection
For anybody to hand this out, we're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in this area.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
the preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.